Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, a little bit past 7 p.m. on the East Coast. And I know I haven't done as many shows recently as you could imagine. I am overwhelmed with lots of things that I'm trying to achieve. But as always, I want to do at least one AMA every single week just to kind of chat back and forth so that we are still engaged every single week in some way, shape, or form. I do love this chat. And I do love the people who are here. So I want to make sure we are going back and forth at least once a week in some way that we can possibly do it. It has been a very challenging couple of weeks. So if you guys do me a small favor, you know what I'm going to say. Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. It does matter. I keep saying it. It helps me out tremendously. I'm trying to get past the ban known as shadow to the best of my ability. So please do that. I don't want to have to reboot everything, but I might. Also, if we could get this out someplace, repost this someplace so people can chat. Remember, it's an AMA. You can ask me whatever you want. I'll do my best to answer. I'll try not to be spicy, but I might. I'll try not to. And if you have not, click the button known as subscribe and or follow and or join, whatever is that button. Click the damn button. Click it. It does matter. Again, the more people who see this, the better, the more we can move on. And I want us to move on. And get more and more people to see this. So thank you guys for your support. I appreciate it tremendously. So yes, let me, I want to start off with something as I always do. I don't have a video this time because there's just so much stuff going on. Trump is in his full court press, which he has done in the past, which in the past has actually worked for him. Yeah, the full court press has worked for him in the past. I don't know if it will this time. I don't know. There is clearly a civil war going on in the Republican Party. And in the past, many Republicans that I know have been like, no, that's not true. That's not real. That's just the pundits. Look at the polling. Look at this. Look at that. It was brewing for a long time. For those who've been paying attention to me, I've been talking about this literally for months, saying that if Trump doesn't come back and fix his house is going to fall apart. And at this moment in time, his house is falling apart. That's true. And I told people this. Republicans never listen to me. Usually to their own detriment because I'm right. They don't listen, and that's okay. I get it. They're right. I'm wrong. I mean, they're wrong, but that's fine. They don't listen to me. I warned them about many things. I warned them about Mamdani. I warned them about their civil war. They don't pay attention. I'm talking. They go, whatever. And then all of a sudden they go, damn, I was right again. Yes, this civil war is real. And now, does that mean it's over? No, it does not mean it's over. I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, it's over for Trump. It might be, it's possible, but I'm not saying that's true. I try to not count my chickens before they're hatched. I try to only make predictions when I'm pretty sure that I'm correct. I definitely saw the civil war coming a mile away. I saw it a year away. I saw Trump going too far over a year away. You guys remember I said this was going to happen when he first took over last year in January, as this was my fear, and this was happening. So this part I saw. But I don't underestimate Trump, and I don't think anyone should. Don't underestimate your enemies. If you're a Democrat, it's silly. If you're a Republican, don't estimate your boy. He might come through. If you're a Democrat, don't underestimate your enemy. It's not a good idea. Trump could still pull this out, but he is really, and I mean, this is one of the craziest gambles I think I've ever seen. This is a crazy gamble. And he's just doubling down, tripling down, double down, tripling down. If you remember, I mentioned this a couple of months ago. I said my concern for Trump was that this was Napoleon in Russia. And for those of you who don't know what that means, for those of you who know history, it's a simple analogy. But if you're not clear on history, Napoleon kept winning no matter where he was, no matter how bad it got, no matter what was happening. He kept winning. When he was fighting in the early 1800s, he'd win in Spain when he thought he could lose. He'd win in Austria when no one thought he could win. He beat the Prussians. No one thought he could beat the Prussians. He beat in France. He won in France. He won everywhere. He was just the guy who couldn't. He supposedly beat the Brits in Egypt, kind of. But anyway, even there, he supposedly won everywhere, right? He could unbeatable. So he was gonna go on to Russia in the winter because he's unbeatable. And that was the end of Napoleon. Well, if Napoleon had beaten Russia, if that had happened, France would have been the master of Europe, no question, for decades, if not centuries to come, if he had actually done that. But he didn't, and that was the end of him. My worry is Trump is in that same situation. If he wins this battle, they're going to knock down some off Mount Rushmore and put him there. And if he doesn't, it's the end of the Republican Party for the next at least 4 years. Just devastation for at least 4 years, maybe 8 years for Republican Party. Devastated. I could just see that. So that is my concern. But the question I have here is not whether he's gambling or not, or whether this is a civil war, because it is a civil war and he is gambling. But there's 3 things that could be happening with Trump. And I think 3 reasons why this could be happening. And this is what I'm going to open this up on. Number 1, is it that Trump is what I'm saying? He just believes himself. It's total hubris. And he's just moving forward and he's boom, doing it. And I can't be defeated and he's going forward. Is it that? Is it that he's lost his step? Is he getting old? Everyone says he is. He's getting old and he's not as savvy as he used to be. Is that it? Or is it some kind of combo? Like, are the people around him smelling blood in the water and purposefully either not telling him things or telling him things or whatever the case may be, right? He's doing the thing, whatever that thing is, to get him to make mistakes so they could take him out coming up here. And I don't mean physically. I mean politically, so they can get rid of him for the next 2 years so they have a chance at winning in 2028. Is that what's happening? And to be forward, I have no inside information. I don't. So I don't know which one it is. I can't imagine it being anything other than those 3. Now, unless it is what his critics are saying. And one of those is it because of Israel? Is it because of the EpiPen files? Is it the E-files? Is it that? Is it any of those that he's somehow compromised? Is that a thing? I'm not saying it's true or not. I don't actually know. Again, I have no inside information there at all. I'm telling you what people are talking about. Is that what's happening? Is he actually compromised? Is that what's happening now? I'm going to give you what I think is going to happen. Here's my gut. It's not a hard prediction, but it's my gut. And that is this is a mistake. He messed up. He should have never gone to Iran. He should have never done it. Even if it was for the EpiPen files, he shouldn't have done it. It's a mistake. And he's going to pay a high price for it. I can't see him winning this gamble. I mean, maybe he could. Again, if anyone could, it's him. But I don't see it. I can't see a way around this. I can't see a way of this coming up roses. He's burning so many bridges. And again, he said it before. Can he fix it? Yes, he can. If he has such a wonderful victory, such an amazing victory, that somehow everyone goes, oh, I would like Tucker Carlson goes, oh, I'm sorry, Trump, I was so wrong. Look at how awesome you are. And he comes back. That would be like the only way it could work. I can't see that. I can't see that. That's what drives me crazy. I think he has made an error, that he's gone too far. That's where my head is. And I think the Democrats still are doing nothing but just hoping he collapses. Sadly, it's working. But what's happening is there are 2 people who are popping up, which they didn't want to pop up. On a Democratic side, it's Ro Khanna. Ro Khanna is taking up a leadership mantle that no Democrat is prepared to take care. Democratic leadership is insanely bad. I mean, it's terrible. If you're a Democrat, you know what I'm talking about. You're disappointed. All Democrats know can't stand leadership. It is, I mean, nationwide. It's just bad. And it's bad because it's compromised. They don't care. It's a disaster. Democratic leadership is terrible. The only guy who steps up in any way, shape, or form is Ro. And Ro kind of does it. Now, Ro's far too left for me. So I'm not talking about his politics. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about his charisma and his skill set. For a geeky guy out of San Francisco, this guy's killing it. This guy is killing it. He is really making sure that he is showing some leadership that no one else is. It's crazy. He's doing that. And the second person is Massey. And both are going to win this year. At the end of this year, the 2 winners, regardless of what Trump does, is going to be Massey and Khanna. They are winners, regardless. They're both of their profiles are higher than they've ever been. The people who support them are higher than they've ever been. This is a win for both of them. So that's kind of where my head is. I wanted to yap a little bit on that. I'm happy to take some comments and questions, and I'll start some of those now. And we'll walk down this if I can. All right, Shelley says, depends on which Republican we're asking. You know what? You're right. if you remember, if you saw this was on C-SPAN. C-SPAN was talking about Trump and showing his press conference, I think, what he was talking about. And a guy just yelled out on C-SPAN. He came on live and was like, it's because he's in the Epstein files and blah, blah, blah. And then here comes, out of nowhere, Melania Trump going, I didn't know Epstein? Where the hell's that coming from? All of a sudden, that's what she's talking about? So, yeah, I think there's a bunch of Republicans now who are like, this is all about Epstein file. Excuse me. And most of those people, I think they supported Trump because they believed he was going to be a transparency president. I mean, that's utterly not true. He's not that. But they thought it was going to be that. He is not forcing the Congress to do anything. And the funny part is Melania comes out and says Congress has to act. Well, she's both right and wrong. Right in that, wrong in that Congress did act. They passed the law, so you have to do it. But wrong in that, not like, well, now I passed the law. I'm going to go to sleep now. So Congress is doing nothing, but neither is Trump. None of them are doing what's required to get everything out. So she's right and wrong. But why do you say that? And this is the craziest question of them all. Some people say, Trump started the war with Iran as a distraction from the e-files. Okay. If that's true, is Melania now opening up the e-files to distract from Iran? I mean, that just seems like, is that what we're saying now? Some people also say, oh, you don't understand, Larry, it's 17D chess, whatever. Something's wrong with this one. I don't know. Why does Melania do this? Does she know something? Here is my issue. And I keep going back to it, and I'm tired of being right sometimes. Whatever Trump did in the e-files, whatever it is, you just got to complain. It doesn't matter. My gut says he did some funky stuff with a bunch of professional women, and it will make him look bad, and it'll make some of his friends look bad. That's my gut. I don't know that, but that's my gut. I don't think he did stuff with youngins. I don't think that's true. Maybe, again, if it's proven, it's proven, but it's not yet. I don't think so. And if I'm right, and that's what he's done, he should have come clean a long time ago. I said, yep, we bought women. We did funky stuff with these professional women, but they were all adults. But yep, and I was married when I did it, and I had multiple girlfriends when I was, whatever. If he'd have just come out and said all that stuff, people been like, all right, that's bad, but it'd be over now. How do we know? Because RFK Jr. showed us. I know some of you like RFK Jr., but I don't care. He showed us. He came right out. Yes, I was on the plane. Here's when I was. I like being on planes. I go on anybody's plane. He said it. I love being on jet planes. They can put me on private jets. I'm taking it. Me and my family took it, and we went to so-and-so and went to blah, blah, and did so-and-so, and no one's talking about him anymore. So, yeah. And then, of course, there's a whole chunk of people who think Israel has Trump controlled, and Israel took care of, Mr. Kirk and all that stuff. So I think you're right, Shelly. It's a valid point. Depends who you talk to. Whoever you talk to is going to give you a different answer. True. Yes. Phil says, Epstein laundered money, maybe in a Trump casino. You know what? Maybe. And look, as this is the reality, Phil, what America will let Trump get away with. And some of you, again, who like Trump are going to be mad, but it's still true. Here's the reality. As long as there's no youngins, America's going to be fine with it. Even if that's true. I don't know if maybe it's true. Maybe he used casinos and laundered money. Maybe. But even if he just said, look, yeah, Epstein was my friend. We were doing some scamming, whatever. I needed some cash. I was going to go bankrupt. I let Epstein launder some money to my casino. It's true. I'm embarrassed. But even if that were to happen, he can't go to jail for it. The statute of limitations is already going to be over for something like that. That's already done. He can't go to jail anymore. That was at least 30 years ago, if it happened. Again, I'm not saying it happened at all, but if you're right, and it did happen, it's at least, 30 years ago? That's a done deal. So say it. Get it out there. People go shame, shame. Democrats already hate him. They'll just, if they can possibly hate him more, they'll hate him more. Republicans will be like, yeah, that's crappy, but I still hate Democrats. They'll still vote for him. So maybe you're right, Phil. But if you're right, still come clean. This is why people think he might have been with youngins. Because I think most people agree with me. If he comes clean on that, they'd be like, fine, it is what it is. Unless he's somehow compromised by somebody else or for what MTG said. MTG said he didn't want it to happen because his friends would all be destroyed. That could be true. She could be right. In that case, Trump's send your friends up the river. Sorry, send them. Send them to the river. Sorry, send them. Yes. D is here. Thank you for the $5. Ed, is it Gallery? Is a yes. Yes, he is both of those things. And won't debate Thomas Massie. I'm slightly worried about the recent poll that shows boomer support. Special Ed. It doesn't. The recent polling does not. The recent polling shows that Massie is ahead either by as low as like 9 points or 8 points and as high as like 15, 20. So no, right now he's fine. Right now he's totally fine. There's no worries. I do not see Massie losing this. The more energy Trump gives, the stronger Massie gets. And the odds are Trump is going to see Ed as a loser and walk away. That's what Trump does. When Trump sees you, he doesn't stand by you. When he sees you as a loser, he goes, oh, you're a loser, and he walks away. So Ed Gowron is about to be abandoned. Give him a month or two, whatever time for it, he'll just be abandoned. Trump's fighting wars and EpiPen and Melania's coming out. Last person going to care about is Ed. He's going to blow Ed out. He's going to ignore him. He's not now. Trump's fighting Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. He's fighting all of them. He ain't going to care about Ed. Ed's done for. Ed, look, maybe Ed Gallerin is going to be a little bit more popular than he ever would have been. Good for him. Maybe he's going to gain some money yet, but he's going to take an ass whipping. I know I've taken one myself, more than one. He's going to take an ass whipping. Massey's going to win that. Ed's going to lose it, but Ed's probably going to be more popular than he's ever been. Sadly, he's going to be a Trump sycophant. If Trump screws this up, he is tied to that. But if Trump wins this, Ed's going to be the next whatever, governor of Kentucky or senator or whatever. He's going to, Ed's also rolling the dice. But again, Ed has nothing to lose. He's a nobody without Trump, and now he's somebody with him. Is he somebody great? Well, if Trump's gamble pays off, yes. If not, still better than he was. So not a bad deal for him either way. So, but I'm with you. All righty. That was good. Let me grab some of these comments. Oh, you guys going back and forth. I love that. Doc says, what do you think of J.D. Vance being sent to Pakistan for Iran peace talks? They actually asked for him. I don't know if you guys know that story. They asked for J.D. Vance. They did not. The Pakistanis did not want the standard guys. They wanted J.D. Vance because that was the highest person they could get who wasn't, in their eyes, tainted. Right now, Wickoff and my God, what's the other? Was Kushner? They're tainted in the eyes of Iran and Pakistan, so they don't want those anymore. They're like, we don't want to see these guys anymore. They're done. So they picked the highest guy they could get, who isn't them, J.D. Vance. So that's what they asked for him. So it was a smart move. Look, the reality of it is, when it comes to this Iran war, and I know I'm a broken record, guys, because I'm right and I'm tired of people not listening to me. Trump's communication has been horrific. Horrific. Utterly terrible. In every way you could imagine, his communication has been utterly horrible. The way he said things, the things he said, the things he hasn't said, his communication has been horrible. Whatever you think of George W. Bush, and clearly I'm not a huge fan, but whatever you think of him, at least he told us what was happening. He put out people to talk about it. He showed us stuff. He come up and did his mission accomplished thing. He got in the airplane. He communicated that so well. The whole country was behind him. I mean, it was a BS war, but still, his communication, his team, on point. Trump, none of that. None of it. At least half of America, Doc, doesn't even know why we're in Iran. At least half doesn't get it. And if you ask them, they'll be confused. Well, I think it's because of this or maybe because of that. They won't even know. And then Trump gave his enemies so much ammunition for nothing by agreeing to the 10 points plan that the Iranians said. And no, Republicans, no, he didn't mean that, whatever. I don't care if he meant it. He said it, and he's responsible for his communication. Then he shouldn't have said it then. But he did. It doesn't matter. You don't get a pass. I wish as a public figure politician that you can get a pass for shit you say. You don't. When you're president of the United States, you don't get a pass. That's how it works. Well, it's not fair. Doesn't matter. It's how it works. You don't get a pass. And he said that was a good framework, the 10-point plan they gave us. If he were to take that 10-point plan, he won't. But if he was to, that's surrender. And he said unconditional surrender for them, not for us. He said for that. Oh, maybe he meant we had unconditional surrender. Maybe that's what he meant, because that would have made some sense if that's what he was talking about. So anyway, J.D. Vance was a good idea to send him. J.D.'s happy to go. I'm sure he was. Sorry about that, guys. Taking some water. So I'm sure J.D. was happy to go. Look, it makes J.D. look better. He can ignore this stupid fraud czar thing that Trump threw at him, which was nothing but a way of hammering him. Absolutely. And now if you see in the press, everyone's leaking how J.D. Vance never wanted this war. Oh, he never wanted it. He tried to stop Trump. See that? Because J.D. cares, Doc. Don't you feel the love? J.D. cares about you. He does. He cares. So, but evil Trump, he was the one who wanted it. But J.D. was fighting him and fought so hard. That's the story J.D.'s going to tell you. I don't know if any of that's true, but be prepared for that story. How J.D. wanted peace. He was the peace guy. And Trump was the evil one. They'll get that story. You can guarantee that. So, yes. Hello, thank you for $20. My boots are shined. My weapons are clean and oil. Well, boots should not be shined then, my friend. Remember, shined boots are for parade, not for combat. But yes, thank you. My reserves are stocked. Nice. The polar shift is coming. I've been hearing the polar shift for a while. Maps are plotted. All theories of conspiring minds are real. Prepared, aware, I'm not scared. Liberty or death, security is mine. I like when you speak this way, even though you get me in trouble, better than the way you've been talking about. So if this gets you excited, good. Shine boots are nice, but remember, shine boots are for parade, right? They're for formation. Shine boots, not for the field. You have two sets of boots. Have your jungle ones, right? And then your formation ones. Two separate types of boots. Don't shine them if you're going to be in the field. Last thing you want to shiny boots in the field. So yes, but I'm glad you're set and ready to go. Oh, good. Let your boots be laced. That's good. Let your boots be laced. Your weapons clean and oiled. All good. Reserves being stocked. Also good. Yes, I'm on board, brother. I'm on board. I still need you. We're not done yet. Not done yet. All righty. Let me keep going ahead. Nosy says, Larry Sharpe, Governor 2026. Nosy, I'm trying. I got coming up here on the 14th. We are starting petitioning again. I will have a show on the 13th. A Gov Shack on the 13th explaining everything, what we're doing, how we're doing it. I am trying to tie up all the last pieces this weekend, tomorrow and Sunday. I'm trying to tie them all up to the best of my ability so I can get them all set up and ready to go to the best of my ability so that we can make a nice heavy push coming up here. We are going to start a coalition party. There's no way around it. That's the only option we have. So yes, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Absolutely. So, okay. Shelly says his coalition is falling apart, mostly due to him getting rid of them. You're right, Shelly. That's perfectly correct. Yes. Look, I gave him kudos and I still will give him kudos. Putting that coalition together in 2024, amazing. Well done. I got to respect the game no matter what. It was exactly the right answer. But as I said then, and I still said now, he put that coalition together. He was the only one who could have done it. It was his force of will. It was his personality that got them to all come together. No, but JD couldn't have done that. Couldn't have. Elon Musk couldn't have done that. No way. That was a Trump thing. Trump got that done. Awesome. Well done. But because of that, you're right, Shelley, only he could keep it. No one else could have kept this thing together. It had to be him. And he was like, I got it now, and off I go to fight Russia. Napoleon, Paris is burning. What you doing? Why are you going to Russia? That's what happened. He needed to hold that coalition together. And I said it more than once. I saw it falling apart. Now, have you seen his numbers in independence? I mean, in the basement. His numbers for independence are worse than Democrats. And Democrat numbers are terrible. People still hate Democrats. They haven't all of a sudden loved Democrats. They still hate Democrats. But they've ignored Trump now. And, I'm sorry, to be clear, for those of you who think, well, it's okay because Mom Donnie or whatever, and this is the worst part. Not only is the Republican establishment letting Trump allow the entire coalition to fall apart, and allowing Trump to gamble like this without stopping him, unless my other idea was correct and they're like with it. I mean, maybe. Their response is Mamdani bad. Mamdani's numbers just came out, for those who don't know. Among Democrats, he's about 65% favorable among Democrats. Most of New York is Democrats, for those who don't know. Most of New York's Democrats. New York City, 6-1, 7-1 Democrats, Republican. Yeah. He's good in New York City. He's fine. He's doing just fine. He's doing just fine. Yep, no problems whatsoever. Remember, Hochul won her election last time at 36% approval. Overall, he's at 48% approval. Yes, this is after 100 days in office, after no free buses, after no rent freeze, after none of it, after 18 people dying in the winter. Let me repeat that. After no free buses, after no rent freeze, after saying he's going to increase property taxes by 9%, after saying he's going to increase the state tax to 50%. See, after saying these things, after 18 people dying in the freezing cold, after all of that, 48% approval rate, 64% with Democrats. But Mamdani bad's going to work. Republicans, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Do you even want to win? Have you just surrendered completely? Just whatever. Yeah, I don't want to. This is insane. But you'll hear people say it. And I hear all the time. I hear Republicans say it. You don't understand. They hate Mamdani. No, they don't. I live in New York City. Remember, he used to be my assemblyman before he became my mayor. As you know, I tell you all the time, I had him on my show. People don't hate him. That is a fantasy Republicans keep saying. It's not real. If you're a Republican in New York State, you better come up with a plan and fast, or you can get your ass kicked again. That's how that works. And if you don't come up with a plan with Trump, you can get your ass kicked in 2026. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's keep walking down this road if I could. Rich says Trump is cooked. I'm just saying it's not looking good. I haven't counted him out yet. I haven't yet. If this is the same by July, I agree with you. If he hasn't made a beautiful thing by July, you're right. He's cooked. If that hasn't happened, but I'm not in July yet. So I'm not there yet. I might get there. I'm not there yet. So, yes. Everyone's about D's new handle. We like the handle. Okay, D, you're in. There we go. So there's your new, yeah. And this is D's new handle. It's D effing Liberty. And effing, I'm sure, means freedom is what that means, right? Good. Okay, got that down. So Phil says Napoleon didn't even really lose in Russia. He ran out of supplies and got cut down in the retreat. Okay, so you're saying he couldn't win a war of attrition against the Russians, against a foe that was militarily inferior, similar to us in Iran? Isn't that still a loss? So you might go, he didn't lose in Russia. He retreated and lost 90% of his army. I would consider that a loss, Phil, and all of his cavalry. And for those of you who don't know the history, Phil probably knows this. The Battle of Waterloo that he lost after that, which was the actual end of total end of Napoleon. One of the reasons why he lost that, there were many reasons, but one of the reasons why he lost it is he didn't have enough cavalry. We lost them all in Russia. It takes years to train cavalry horses. Some of you who are in combat may not know that. Horses normally are not good in combat at all. They're terrible in combat. They get skittish, bombing, whatever. It takes years to train a cavalry horse, right? Napoleon's army, when he left, ate most of the horses. Again, I'm not joking. They had food. They had no food. So they literally killed and ate the horses as they walked back to France. That actually happened. So they had no cavalry horses left. So they couldn't do it. It's actually easier to train a cavalry rider than it is to train a cavalry horse. That's what's the difference between what's called hobblers or light horsemen and cavalry. It's a difference. Hobblers or light horsemen are people who travel by horse but fight on foot as infantry because the horses aren't combat trained. Cavalry units that fight on horseback. That's the difference. So anyway, thank you for that. I'm sure Phil knew that. Some people watching may or may not know that, but yeah. All right, grab a couple more of these. Ryan, thank you for the $5. We did have $39 trillion, but going to war in Iran was irresponsible and reckless. Very on brand for Trump. You will hear me say this all the time, Ryan, and I'll keep saying it. For all the people who are Republicans who go, Mamdani is socialist this and socialist that. I get it. But when Trump has $39 trillion in debt and asks for another $700 billion for military spending, which is what he asked for, $700 billion, $500 for the increase, naturally, plus $200 for this war. So he's asked for a $700, which it'll go to more. It'll go to $1 trillion for sure before this is over. So we're going to have a $2 trillion budget for our military. So when they go, why can't you pay for my college? They're not wrong. Why can't I have free this or free buses? We're literally making the argument for them. They're right. I don't want the free buses. I don't want the free college. And I don't want the wars. I don't want none of it. But if we're going to have the wars, they have a point. If you've got money to throw away in Iran, why don't you have money to give people for education or healthcare or whatever, their rent, whatever they want? Not wrong. We're making an argument for them. Lunda says, bring back the elephant cavalry of Hannibal. Yes. Many people don't know. Most elephant combat, with the exception of Indians, some of the Moguls and such, was actually very inefficient. What actually worked very well with the elephants, Hannibal's elephants, there weren't that many of them. The issue is it was crazy intimidating because in combat, seeing these just literally put fear into the hearts of so many of the infantry, and also put the horses. The cavalry horses were not accustomed to seeing these massive elephants coming at them. It was much more intimidating than anything else. Bringing the elephants into combat was much more like, oh my God, it would help the other units in front of them break and run. They actually weren't as powerful as they would be. Elephants, another thing, the advantage of elephants over cavalry. Cavalry, unless you have a chariot, which early on was a war chariot, was like the tank of the day. Why? Because you could have 3 people in the chariot. And you might go, why does that matter? For those of you who understand combat, you got 1 rider, you have 1 spearman, and the spearman is to keep infantry off of it, and then 1 bowman. And it's a flat platform. So the bowman can fire while the spearman can deal with infantry, while the rider can literally overrun people. It was the tank of the ancient times. So it was amazing. That kind of cavalry was amazing. Once they created cavalry, which is still amazing, but unless you were the Mongols, which the Mongols are very good at firing from horseback, most militaries cannot fire from horseback. They'd have to their horse archers were like hobblers. They would move via horse, get off, and then fight like infantry. The Mongols were separate. They actually were able to do so, and part of that was the stirrup. Those who don't know, stirrup in the early days didn't exist. When you have a stirrup in your horseback, the people can stand up in this and be balanced when they fire their bow. You couldn't do that in early days. You had to have a chariot with a flat platform. So anyway, the elephant was very special. The elephant was so big, you could put 3 people on the back of the elephant. You couldn't put 3 people on the back of a horse. It wouldn't work, right? But you're an elephant. So again, you've got a rider, you've got a pikeman or a spearman who could take care of the infantry, and you got a bowman. And if you're far enough away, you got 2 bowmen. So they basically got a massive elephant walking that's firing arrows everywhere. I mean, it would put fear in the hearts of a bunch of the infantry, particularly if the infantry was lightly armored. You've got maybe infantry with only shields or no shields and spears. Peasant infantry would break. And for those who know what break means, in military terms, a broken unit is a unit that will no longer stand and fight. It will fall back, retreat, run, whatever the case may be. So now I've got peasants who I've levied, and they have spears and hardly any armor, and they see 4 or 5 elephants coming at them with bowmen and spears. They literally just stop and run. They just run away. So that's what would happen. Anyway, thank you for that, lunatic. I'm sorry. I spend so much time on this sometimes. So, all righty. D says breakdowns of Dave Champion. I don't know what that means, D. Sure, reach out to me. We'll do something. Okay. All righty. I know Dave Champion, by the way. He sent me his book, which I still haven't read. So yeah, I appreciate that. Maybe I will. It's a good idea. So, all right. Let me see if I'll walk down some more of these. 99 says, reminder that Stalin died in his room alone because everyone was afraid to open his door without an explicit invitation. That's actually pretty good. I like that. That's good. All righty. Let me see if I can go here. D is mad. You're either for effing liberty or you're not. I am. So freedom, no, liberty, or you're not. I am. I care about what political party you are. I don't care. I care not about what political party you are anymore. I'm now not Libertarian Party of Florida. I'm now no party affiliated. I know the feeling, D. I know the feeling. The real D Pookie. Thank you for all you do, Larry. Thank you. I appreciate that, D Pookie. I think that's awesome. Thank you. Okay. I will grab some more of this if I can. All right. Bronner says, I'm sorry if I missed anyone. I'm in a bit of a funk. Not contributing very well. I hope you feel better, Bronner. I hope you do. Absolutely. John says, too soon to tell. If peace happens in the next 2 weeks and straight stay open, it'll be a win. If we are still there, come midterms, it's over for Trump and Republicans. That's 100% true, John. I would say if we're still there in August or September, even that late, because remember, you've got to actually come up with an actual deal, right? These deals don't take 5 minutes. This again, I'm a broken record, but I don't care. Same thing on Trump and his damn communication on all these tariffs and all these deals he's making. You can't make all these deals in 5 minutes. It's just not how it. I don't care how smart or savvy you are. It takes months to create these deals. You can do it. It can't be done. I think Trump could have done it, but he's like, tomorrow it's going to be great. No, it's not, homeboy. It's not. That's not how it works. It takes months to make these deals. It takes months to have tariffs work in any way, shape, or form. Maybe years. It takes months to build these factories. Maybe years. It takes months to do this stuff. You can't just go, tomorrow, golden age. What are you thinking? Now everyone's pissed. Communication, horrible in every way. That terrible stuff about saying it's destroying civilization. Why do you say stuff like that? In 2020, people hated his mean tweets. Hated them. He learned nothing. People care about mean tweets. You can go, but it doesn't matter. But it does matter. It's politics. Emotions matter. People don't like mean tweets. So stop the mean tweets because they don't like the mean tweets and you're trying to win an election. So stop with the mean tweets because people don't like it and they don't want to vote for you because they can't stand the mean tweets. You know that from 2020. Why are you doing it again? It makes no sense. Anyway, yes, you're correct. I think the 2-week thing, though, I think he has more time, John. I don't think it will be great. Look, I wanted Joe Biden to succeed. I wanted Trump to succeed. Clearly, Joe Biden did not succeed. Trump so far is not succeeding. I want them both. I want our presidents, regardless of who they are, to succeed so we can be better off. I hope, and I mean this with no hyperbole. It's a hyperbole, that's the wrong word. With no disingenuousness, is that right? Gotta find the right word. I mean this in all truthfulness. I hope he has an amazing plan that I've missed somehow and I'm wrong. And 2 months from now, I'm like, oh my God, I didn't see this coming. Trump's a genius. I hope that's true. I will come on this show and I will say how awesome he is and what a great job he did. You know I'll do that if I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong and he's got some awesome plan and this is amazing. I hope I'm wrong. I don't think I am. I'm with you. I don't see it happening. I can't imagine. If I'm Iran, I see no reason, none. If you notice, the Iranians are so untrustworthy of Americans, they had to have the Pakistanis escort them to the talks. Yeah, they were like, we don't trust these guys. If you're going to get us, we're going to make sure you get the Pakistanis with us. I'm not joking. That actually happened. So yeah, that's how bad it is. But I don't think I think he has more time than the 2 weeks. And the straight staying open, that's not an American win. I don't know why people think that. That's some propaganda. Trump said openly, he said, we don't care about the Trumps. The Trumps. We don't care about the straits, the Trumps. We don't care about the straits. We don't use them. And that's what he said. It's about Europe, West. You guys go over there and take it, NATO. You should control it, open it. We don't care. Then he's like, you better open them or I'm going to kill you all. Wait, which one is it? And then when he opens it, he agrees to their 10-point plan, which includes them charging a fee. If they get the fees that they want, now they're probably not gonna, but let's say for the sake of argument only, they get the fees that they want, they're going to be a hugely rich country. And I mean, like, they will start their own sovereign fund that will match the Saudi sovereign fund within 5 years. Within 5 years. I'm not joking. If Iran gets the fees that they want, I don't think they will, but if they do, they will have a sovereign fund that will match Saudi's sovereign fund. It'll match it. It means it'll be almost $500 billion to $1 trillion. Iran will have free healthcare. Iran will have free schooling. Iran will have free everything because they're going to have a massive sovereign fund, bringing tons of money. There's what, 80 million Saudis, give or take? Am I about right? 80 million? There's like 90 million Iranians, and they're going to have a sovereign fund that's going to match because everyone's going to throw money into their sovereign fund. In 5 seconds, they'll throw money into it. You will watch American banks. Mark my words. If this happens, Iran will start a sovereign fund. American banks, the Blackwater, same thing, the Blackstones of the world, the BlackRocks of the world, Palantir, they will all throw money into that sovereign fund, guaranteed. They'll all throw money into that fund. That fund will make a ton of money. It'll be $500 billion in 5 years. It'll be $1 trillion in 10, 15 years. Mark my words, that will happen if they get what they want. 100%, no doubt. They'll all throw money into that. A brand new sovereign fund backed by Iranian oil. The Iranians will then start processing their own gasoline. They don't process their own gasoline right now. They send their oil out, get a process, and bring back gasoline. They'll process their own gasoline there too. They'll process everything. They'll build processing plants. They'll build nuclear plants, and they'll have nuclear weapons, guaranteed. Why will they have nuclear weapons? Because once they have a sovereign fund, and American money is in Iran, we can't bomb Iran anymore. Yep. You think Israel doesn't know that? Oh, no one tells you this stuff. I tell you this stuff because I know how this shit works. They don't tell you that. When Iran opens up a sovereign fund and American dollars go in that sovereign fund, we ain't bombing Iran no more. Those days are over. That's American money there now. We ain't bombing Iran no more. They're our ally now. They're our ally now. We always love the Islamic Republic. We always love you guys. That's going to happen. Watch if this happens. That's what will happen. At that point, Israel has no shot. Israel going to sign a peace treaty with them. They'll have no choice. And Israel knows this, which is why Israel is against this entire plan. Because if this plan happens, that's the next step. Sovereign funds, huge dollars going into Iran, their own gasoline, their own nuclear power plants, their own everything, and the Belt Road Initiative, guaranteed direct line from Iran to Russia, Iran to China, over land. Over land. Why will that happen? Because the straits will be expensive. So they'll give Iran and Russia special deals over land, don't pay for straits. Watch that happen. And watch all that money go to their sovereign fund. And when that happens, you'll watch Iranian companies buy land in America. Chinese do. Saudis do it. Singaporeans do it. Norwegians do it. If you think anything I'm saying I'm making up, simple Google search or ChatGPT or whatever you're using, Grok, check. Anything I'm saying, absolutely true. You can see it. They do it now. Iran will copy. We ain't bombing Iran ever again. Ever again. They are buddies now. And that's going to happen. And Israel knows that. Israel don't want to stop this war. I told you, remember what I said? The night they did the 2-week thing, I told you, my prediction was, I told you then, Israel's not going to abide by that. They ain't going to stop bombing Gaza. They ain't going to stop bombing Lebanon. Never. And they didn't. Of course not. Why would they? Israel doesn't want to end this war. So why would they? They don't want Iran to get a sovereign fund. It's the last thing Israel wants. The last thing Israel wants. They do not want that. Sovereign for them is a terrible idea. They don't want that. Anyway, I'm giving you guys maybe some inside baseball, but it's still true. So let me grab a couple of these. Ryan, thank you, says, Trump re-endorsing Graham is insanity. Of course it is. Of course it is. What would you expect? Again, I hate being right all the time. Nah, I love it, but I hate that I'm being right. No one pays attention. That I hate. But yeah, I told you that the second they put Rubio in, what did I tell you? That was his deal with the neocons. I told you that a year and a half ago. When they put Rubio in, that was the deal with the neocons. And here we go. You see it. So get your maps of underground cities. Okay. This is a point that's kind of important. Lunatic's right. I'm doing a lot of military history for you guys because some of you I know enjoy. I think some of you enjoy the stories of the elephants and stuff, so I'll give this one. Stalingrad, the Battle of Stalingrad, 1942 over to 1943. That was one of the harshest battles of the war, one of the biggest turning point battles in World War II. Once Stalingrad was over, that is when the German high command knew the war was over. Most of them knew the war was over. There was nobody that could recover from that. They had one last shot, was the Battle of Kursk, which was their last gamble to save the war. Once they lost that, they all knew it was over. That was in 43. By the time 44 came around, there was not one person in German high command who thought the war was they were gonna win. They knew it was over. They were looking for peace. They knew it was over. But Stalingrad, a whole lot of that battle people don't know about was fought in sewers. It's true. It's fought in sewers underground. Because as they couldn't move in the city to city fighting, they thought, how do we get through? They'd fight in sewers. Now, the sad part is, because of that, obviously the Russians who lived there knew the sewer system better, right? Of course they did. The Germans didn't. Obviously, what would the Germans do? Well, they get prisoners and force them to show them the sewer system. And it wasn't awesome. It was underground fighting in the sewers of Stalingrad. Russians who lived there, knew the sewer system better than the Germans who didn't live there. So Germans had to get prisoners and get them to show them. And it was not good. So I agree. Sewer system's a big deal. That actually, by the way, also happened. Urban warfare happened in Hue City in Vietnam. And if you hear people talk about Vietnam, most of the Vietnam battles were outside the jungles and villages. But Hue City, during the Tet Offensive, was actually a house-to-house fighting. And that's when the city boys actually came into play. They knew how to take buildings because they had fought in buildings before. So yes, interesting tidbit. Thank you for that, Lunatic. It's history. It's AMA. You get stuff like this, right, with AMA, right? I hope you guys are finding it interesting at least. So, guys, I know I say it. I'll say it again. If you like what I'm doing, click the button known as like. It does matter. Share this, repost this someplace. Subscribe to this channel. If you like a chat like this, where you get interesting tidbits, stuff back and forth, you understand what I know and how I think, right? I hope you guys see who I am. I'm trying to share myself the best of my ability. That's why I have AMAs. So you see what I care about, what matters, and how understanding history is one of the best ways of predicting the future. It's one of the best ways. So, and of course, subscribe to this channel if you would please. It does matter tremendously. I was talking about Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie, how they're becoming leaders in this modern day. It's been happening for a while. Ro Khanna has been pushing this for a bit. For a while, he's been pushing this for a while, making this happen. And there's a place that was talking to him about a year ago. You know where that was? Yeah, it's civil. It's always civil. And it was yet again, it was civil. This is last year. They were talking about Ro Khanna and the idea of an anti-war alliance. This is him last year talking to Reason about a new left-right anti-war alliance. This was about a year ago. He was already talking, and civil already happened.
Who's allowed to launch an attack on another country? Just asking questions. Representative Ro Khanna of California is here with us today to talk about his war powers resolution that he's co-sponsoring with Kentucky Republican Thomas Massie.
Bingo, exactly who I was talking about. Civil was on this last year. I was talking about it. Civil was on it already. You want to be ahead of the curve? You know who is? Civil, CIVL.com. Head on over there. Check them out. Put in code Larry10. Larry, the coolest name on the internet. Plus 10 for 10% off. Go over, check out Civil. They are a sponsor of the show. Every single show I do, I show you something cool that Civil's doing. Every time. They knew something. They were there ahead of the curve. They were watching things. They've got some back and forth. And they're going to ask him serious questions. It's just not going to be a softball interview. That's not what Civil puts up. This will be a rare interview. And he'll say what he feels. You might like it. You might hate it. But you're going to see why and how this guy, Ro Khanna, is showing leadership that other Democrats aren't. If you're a Democrat, you'll like it because you'll like seeing him lead. If you're a Republican, you may not like it. But if you're a Republican, he's the guy you got to fight. So you better know who the hell he is. If you're a Democrat, he might be your next leader. You probably want to watch him. If you're not, still see what good leadership is like. This is very good leadership for a Democrat. You should see this. It's important. Check it out at civil, CIVL.com. We are upgrading civilization without the conflict machine. They're a sponsor of the show. Please check them out. Code Larry10. So yes, of course it was civil. I mean, like you kind of knew that, but that's fine. Still important. I'm telling you, Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie, they have futures. They're winning this year. They are winning this year. So yes. All righty. See if I can go here real fast. So many of these. Okay, I'm keep going down a short. I'm behind. Wow, I'm way behind. Let me try to grab some more, catch up. All right, he got hit in the ringer with promises he made to get votes, especially the e-files. They're not going away. These files will burn to the ground. I agree, and I don't know. I still don't get why Melania did this so far. I don't know why Melania did it, but she did come out and do her thing about how doesn't know Epstein or whatever. I don't know why she did that. But the files aren't going away. They just aren't. So, yes. Bronna says, I think a longtime Facebook friend may have passed away. They have no real way of knowing. Oh, that sucks. You don't reach out to them on Facebook. You don't have a messaging or something like that. I'm disappointed. I often, when people pass, I get notified by other people usually, right? They'll pop and say, hey, Larry, so-and-so passed, so-and-so this. That happens often. I'm sorry about that. I hope they didn't pass. I hope there's something else you don't know about. That's what I hope. I don't know if that's true, but I do hope it's true. So, and it's possible. You never know. You never know. All righty. Kay says, my boyfriend said they're bringing attention back to the e-files since the world's going so badly. I don't know. It seems weird, right? Vivek says, Iran definitely. EpiPen is bad, but the real anger is why involved in foreign aid and conflict, not putting America first and adding to the already insane amount of debt. I think you have a very valid point, Vivek, and I see it everywhere. The e-files made a lot of the youngins get upset because they thought it was going to happen. But the older people kind of bought maybe it's Democrat hoax, or maybe it doesn't matter, or maybe it's not that important. The older people did. The younger, they were kind of iffy. But this Iran thing, this war makes a lot of people upset. And they don't understand why. And I'll give you a quick story. I might have told somebody a story before. I'm at an event with a woman and her husband who are both Republicans. And the woman still kind of supports Trump, but maybe not was never a huge Trump fan, but is right-leaning in general and would vote for him, but isn't like a huge fan. She said her husband was. And she goes, and I was talking about how bad Trump's communication has been this time. It's been horrible. And she said, yeah, my husband, Trump lost my husband. Like, oh, really? What happened? She goes, he doesn't understand this. He doesn't know why the hell we're at war. I'm like, I know. Nobody does. He doesn't tell anybody. 7 different reasons, maybe because of this, maybe because of that, not clear. His communication is terrible. It's just the worst. I've never seen a president lie us into war worse. I mean, he always lies into war, but this is the worst lie into war ever. The worst ever. So I completely agree. So I think, and it feels like it's not America first. You're right. The economy is not good. And he just keeps saying it is. This is like Biden. Biden was like, everything's awesome. It's not awesome. Joe, if it was awesome, Kamala would be president right now. So it's not awesome. And Joe was like, no, it's awesome. It's not awesome, Joe. If it was awesome, we wouldn't have thrown your butt out eventually. And Kamala would be president right now if it was awesome. She'd be president. It's not awesome. Trump's fallen to that same thing. Ryan says MAGA is dead. People are saying it. I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet, Ryan. You might be right. I'm not there yet. I'm not ready to go. So Rich says, man, Republicans were Republican. True. Yes. Yes. 99 says, Larry, as this is an AMA, I know you've dipped your toe into the water with regenerative ag. I'm a bit more extreme than your last guest on the subject. Would you ever be up to have me speak on it? Should reach out to me if you can via Twitter is the best way. We'll see what we can do. So yes, Twitter is the best way to reach out to me if you can. That's always monitored, which is why. Yep. All righty. Nose says, I knew better than to believe in Trump, but I will admit I was hopeful he would keep his word. I never voted for him and never would. BB twisted Trump's arm to this war because of the e-files. See, maybe. Okay, couple things. One, I'm with you on Trump. I was hopeful he would keep us out of war. And there's a lot of people who thought the same thing. I didn't have high expectations for Trump. I didn't. But I did think he'd keep us out of war. Well, I don't know if I think. I was hopeful he would keep us out of war. I was. I was hopeful that he would end the Israeli war in Gaza. I was hopeful he would end the war in Ukraine. He talked like he was gonna. I don't know. Again, his poor communication. Tomorrow, 24 hours. I knew that was never going to happen. But I'd have been happy if he ended it in a year. I would have been happy if he had ended it just like December of last year and ended that war. I'd have been like, great deal. I'd be giving him kudos for it. Still going on. And because of the Iran war, as I mentioned in my last show, because of the Iran war, it might go on fast. I thought, and I said it, I predicted already, and my prediction may be wrong. I know it happens once in a while. Maybe wrong. I predicted the Ukraine war would end this year. The Iranian war may have changed that. For those of you who don't know, I brought this up in one of my other shows. With the Iranian war, the Russians gambled on a massive spring offensive. They thought, well, now that the Ukraine's sending people to Iran and Israel, and with the war, no one paying attention, we can make a massive attack. It did not go well. The Russians are still winning the war. That's true. But this offensive was a disaster. Overall, I think they've actually lost land. Overall. Still, again, they're still winning. They still gain more land overall. But I think they've actually lost the amount they've gained and lost. I think there was a net loss in land, and they had massive casualties. They've had some of the highest casualties they've ever had. So very high casualties, and they lost land, and they were on the offensive. So it went very poorly for the Russians this last month or two, maybe 2-3 months in that area. I think maybe 2 months they had an offensive. It did not go well. Most people aren't paying attention because everyone's talking about the Iran war. To those who are paying attention, maybe my last month or so. And it's been very bad for them. So because of that, now the Ukrainians are like, well, maybe we can win this thing. They're re-energized. They're not ready to end the war now. Now they want to fight. And now, because of the Iranian war and all the drones, which is the new warfare, which I've been saying forever, and again, don't pay attention, but forever, that's what it is. It's drone warfare. Now the Ukrainians are valued soldiers now. Well, you want those valued soldiers? You know what you got to do? You got to pay for them. Ukraine has a new source of money now. It can now put out mercenaries while it's at war with Russia. So it can send mercenaries someplace else and make money on those mercs so they can come back and build more drones and get more people to fight here for them. I think we've just extended the war. I think our war in Iran may have extended the war in Ukraine. When Ukraine was, prior to this last offensive, Ukraine was just losing. Slowly. It wasn't like they were getting crushed, but just slowly losing. Not now. And boy, one win, can that change? Boy, can that change things. So, yes. John says, Melania talking about not knowing E is because liberals have been posting AI-generated pictures of her with Maxwell and Epstein and saying they were great friends. Even had her and E kissing in one. That's what, God, I don't want it to be true. That seems so silly, John. God, that seems silly. But okay. I believe you. Just, that's why you would do this? Oh, my God. If that's true, Trump must be pissed. Rich says, Orange Man is cooked. People are saying it. Vivek says, do you think Tucker Carlson or someone like him would run in 2028 and win Republican nomination, beating Rubio, Vance, and Paul? No, I don't think so. A lot of people like Tucker. He is very popular. But among the Republican rank and file, those who actually vote, those who are part of the system, he isn't. Right? So if you look at people who are right-leaning or people who are more independent thinking but lean right, they love Tucker. That's true. But the actual Republicans, the people who are voting, the people who are in the system, no, they're not Tucker fans. I don't mean to be cruel. I'm just being forward. And they're the ones who run it. I know. I just went through that machine last couple months. And that machine does not care what people think. That machine does not care what the independents think. That machine cares only about what the established Republicans think. And that's he had to run in that machine. So no, I think he has zero chance. The only way Tucker could do it is if the top guy while running had some horrible scandal. Then maybe if the stars aligned perfectly, maybe. The other way Tucker could do it is if he did what RFK Jr. did, run independent, be so popular that the Republicans go, damn, we need him so that we can win this thing, similar to what Trump did with RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, and Elon Musk, and they bring him aboard somehow. Whether that is they put him on the VP ticket or they promise him he'll be whatever, Secretary of State or whatever, something like that. So could he get into the administration? I think it's possible. But I think the only way he does it is he follows the RFK model. Run independent, gain so much that he has that leverage of that percentage, and whoever's winning, whether it's Rubio or Vance or whoever, goes, fine, come on in. I'll give you this thing that you want. Like they gave RFK HHS. They give Tucker the thing I don't know what he wants, but whatever. Maybe he wants Secretary of State, whatever. I'm making that up. Take it and come aboard. Then I think he could be part of administration. But him actually winning, I don't see it. And the problem is Tucker is pretty controversial on the right. He'd have to make some serious shifts towards the left for him to win the 12th Amendment. Those who know 12th Amendment, I talk about all the time. You make it to where no one gets 270 and the Congress has to decide who the president is. Tucker's still far too right-leaning for Democrats to support him. RFK Jr. had a chance. He might have done it. Again, if he had done that, he had a chance of becoming the coalition candidate. I don't think Tucker could. Tucker has to make some serious changes in who he is in the next 2 years for that to happen. I don't see him doing it. So I don't think so. Just my view. I think Tucker would have a very good chance of, say, winning a congressional seat as an example, or maybe even Senate seat. Is he in New Hampshire? Is he in Maine? I forgot where he is. I forgot where Tucker lives. But, he could probably win a local thing. I think he could. I don't see him because locally he's so popular. He'd probably overwhelm anybody else with both money and popularity in a local race, whether that's for Congress or Senate in a smaller state. I think he could win that. I don't think he could win a Republican nominee. Not now. Unless there was unless no one, I can't imagine that. Trump would have to fall and the neocons would have to fall. I don't see how that happens. Both falling? Even if that happened, then if that were to happen, tech bros take over, right? And that's Vance all day long. So how does he beat Vance? I can't see it. I don't see it. Maybe Vivek, but I can't see any way. And again, I told you the ways. They're not realistic. There we go. Nosy says, Trump can't come clean house because it's too dark. Ooh, Nosy, nicely done. Nicely done. I like that. Adam says, frankly, at this point, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this administration. First term Trump wouldn't act this way with the posts against podcasters. If I'm the most powerful person in the world, why should I care? You are correct, Adam. I've said it. His communication this term has been horrible in every way imaginable. Just terrible. Terrible. The person who I never would want to be is his communications chief. Never. What a disaster. His communications, the worst. I agree. First term Trump would have said this. No way. No way it would happen. Yeah, I completely agree. And I know lots of people. I'll tell you a business story about a business owner in the story of Queens. For those of you who know the city very well, most of the patrons of businesses are Democrats. Most of the business owners are Republicans. That's how it actually works in many parts of New York City. So I know many business owners here. So one of them said to me, and he's a hardcore Trump supporter, loves Trump, voted for him 3 times, loves Trump. He said, Larry, I'm tired of it. He goes, I can't stand the inconsistency. I can't stand the instability. He goes, I'm tired of it. I don't know what happened. Look, he still loves Trump. He'd probably vote for him again to be forward because he does love Trump. But he is pissed off. He is tired of it. He doesn't want it anymore. He's just tired of it. It's affecting his business. You're not alone, Adam, is what I'm saying. You're not alone. Absolutely. Doc says independents are sick of both major parties. True. You're seeing more and more people talk about it too, Doc. You are right. More and more people are talking about it. Yes, absolutely. So 90 says, back on subject, my gut tells me that while Trump may not have been directly involved with what EP was up to, I have sneaking suspicion that he knew more than American people will be happy with. I'm sure that's true. I'm sure he knew tons of stuff. He was part of the cool kids of the 90s. I'm sure Clinton knew a bunch of stuff too. I'm sure he did. Again, my issue is, did he or did he not do something with youngins? If he didn't, America will forgive him. Even if he knew, even if he said, even if what did Phil say? He was laundering money. Even if that's true, I have no evidence. I don't know. I'm not saying it's true. Even if it is, come clean, say, yeah, me and Epstein did some shady stuff together or whatever. We bought women, whatever he did, right? Whatever, fine. If he just comes clean and say it, people will get over it. They'll be like, all right, fine. They'll get over it. If he did something with little ones, that's a problem. So, yeah, I'm sure he knew stuff. He was part of the cool kids. I'm sure he did. But America will forgive him. I know some people, the people who hate Trump will never forgive him for anything. It doesn't matter what he does. They'll never forgive him. But the people who love Trump will forgive him for that. Kids, they won't. They won't. So John says, such limitations will mean nothing, Democrats. They'll twist the law and take you to court anyway. Maybe, but in reality, I'm not saying you're wrong at all, John. They might, but no one will care. They already impeached him. No one will care. Yeah, they'll take him to court, whatever. No one will care. You're right, though. It won't work. Mike Boss is in the house. Nunes says, Larry, one of his accusers being interviewed by the FBI multiple times credibly alleges Trump forced while she was a youngin'. She says so. Who says credible? I don't mean to be mean, but I am a stickler for innocent unless proven guilty. Some woman or man, some person saying something is nice. I get it. Doesn't make it true. Some of you know, I literally have some PTSD from watching innocent people go to jail. One of them was supposedly a credible witness who said this guy did something. He did not. I know he didn't. I'm 100% sure he didn't. If you guys want to talk one day, I'll talk about that case, what I can talk about it. But no, he did not do it, and his life was ruined. So I hear you. Who says credible? Is that a jury? Is that people? I don't know. So I'm not saying he didn't do it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's not there yet. So yes. Rich says, of course he did it. That and every other crime in the book. Maybe, but they'll get, if that's true, it'll come out. Let it come out. Rich says, convicted criminal in the Oval Office. Whoever thought? Well, that was okay. Mike says, e-files will never get resolved as it's JFK assassination with a bonus as focused on Trump due to the media. So Dems rally base. What? E-files will never get resolved as it's the JFK assassination with a bonus as focus is on Trump due to the media. So Dems rally base. Not sure where you're going with that one, Mike. Dems rallied their base against Trump no matter what. I think that's true. That's what rallies their base. Nothing, and I've said this for years, nothing unites Democrats more than Orange Man Bad. Nothing unites them more than that. Left Democrats versus middle Democrats versus leaning leaning right Democrats, doesn't matter. All of them get united over Orange Man Bad. That's true. EpiPen files totally does that also. But I don't know. It won't get resolved because they won't let it out. But it could. It's not due to the media. That's not true. The focus is on Trump due to Democrats, not to the media. The Fox News isn't talking about it. Fox News says it's a hoax. And Fox News is still popular. So is all the right-wing pundits. So, yeah. So he says, I've convinced more people to vote for Larry because there's a far left and far right than there's millions of us in the middle being taxed for extremes. Yes. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yep. Kajan says, our leader is a spoiled peasant man-child, pathetic human being. His parents made that happen. Their fault as well. Okay. Nosy says, it's not about protecting his friends. Everyone knows Trump doesn't take care of his friends. He wants to give donors and elites. Well, valid point. When I say friends, good point. When I say friends, Nosy, I don't mean friends as in people who are his buddies. I mean associates that he works with. I should have been clearer. You're right. Yes. Doc says if Trump was smart, he wouldn't have primaried Massey. True. He wouldn't have backed a Democrat with a chance to beat him in the general. He would have backed the. Oh, yes. I see what you're saying. Got you. Okay. Yeah. I'm with you. Yes. I'm with you. I said it. I've been saying 1,000 times. Leave Massey alone. It's a battle you can't win. But he can't not fight battles. He's left. Leave Massey alone. He's going to lose that battle. He's got other wars to fight. He's got a bigger war to fight and other battles to win. That was a dumb battle from to even initiate. Let it go. Massey's not stopping him. Massey isn't the reason why he's failing. He's decided to make that. So, yeah. Space Jason is over on Rumble and says, Artemis just splashed down. Big win for all Americans. Nice. We're back in space again, which is great. I love it. Oh, good. Happy that's happening. I agree. So, yes. Bronna says, I always see the libs in their feeble way to prove Trump is with the quote, you can grab them by the They always leave that part out. They let you do it. Yes, that's correct. That is what Trump said. He goes, you can do whatever you want. They let you do it. He did say that. That's true. You're not wrong. Yes. He said you can grab them by the but they'll let you do it. He did say that. That's true. And there are lots of women that you can do it. They'll let you do it either for money or not for money. Depends on a woman. So yes. And again, we know he did that stuff. Just say it. Just come out and say it. Yeah. Me and EpiPen, we had lots of professional women. It's true. I was married. It's true. Republicans will forgive him for that. It's fine. He's not going to lose anything from saying that. He should have done it a long time ago. So, no, he says Trump's ship is sinking and Trump will abandon it if he can. How does he abandon his own ship? Knows he. How's he abandon it? I think the only thing he does, he has to throw someone else under the bus. Is that what he does? Adam says, first term Trump made MAGA bigger than himself. Second term Trump thinks and acts as if he is MAGA. If Trump wants MAGA to die when he leaves office, so be it. He keeps alienating MAGA supporters. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. He has to go back and fix this or he's going to lose it. I've been saying it for months. He has to fix it. So Rick says, Ed has all the AIPAC dough for what it's worth. Netanyahu has screwed up popularity. But yes, I agree. That cash, Ed's going to be better off at the end no matter what, right? But I can't see him winning. This is another loss for AIPAC. AIPAC's been having some losses recently. He really has. So, Lunta, thank you for coming aboard, brother. I'd like to create a new show, Larry, or segment. Let's read the legislation. Public topic, read the law behind it, education series. Okay, so if you make that kind of show, there has to be something special on that show, right? It's got to either be based upon something, be funny, be entertaining, be silly, be gossipy, have some kind of spin. Not against the idea. All right, maybe we walk it through and then laugh about how silly it is or what's actually going to happen because of it or why it won't work. Any of those spins might work, something like that. Or how people can make money from it. I think it could be done. Do you want to do it? Maybe. If you be good, we can do it on YouTube. If not, we can do it on Rumble. So we got to figure it out. I don't know if I trust you, Lunatic. Maybe we got to do it on Rumble. But maybe do it on YouTube. I'm open to it. I'm open to the idea. We have to have the right spin. That's it. There's got to be a spin to it. And I think, yes, you can do it. As long as you spin it, then it can be done. Yes. Phil says, what's the value of space exploration for America? It depends on where we go. One of the things it gives us, it's several, there's some value, but it depends where we go. I've always said that the moon base is a wonderful idea. And people are like, that's dumb. Why do we want a moon base? Several reasons why. The most simplest reason is what Space Station just said. It's a good day for us. It makes Americans feel like we can do stuff. Americans haven't done anything since what? I guess the internet? Is that really it? So we do. Our government's completely dysfunctional. It doesn't do anything right. When Mike was talking about the Iran war, I was like, it's going to be a disaster. We're going to lose it, of course. And he's like, no, because X, Y, and Z. And if you notice, I didn't fight Mike on his logic on the war. I just said, we're going to screw it up because we always do. We're going to lie to the people. We're going to screw it up. Whatever we're saying is not true. And in the end, we're going to screw it up because it's not our military. Our military is awesome. We see that. It's obvious. Our government can't win wars. Our military wins almost every, it's very rare. We do lose some battles here or there, but it's very rare for Americans to lose a battle. I mean, we probably lose maybe 1 in 100 battles. It's that our battle victory is just insanely high. We win almost every battle. And battles we don't win, it's probably more of a draw, even if we don't win the battles. But wars, we can't win wars. It's not because of our military, it's because of our government. So we're going to lose this war too, because we always lose wars. Whether the war is righteous or not righteous, the government is going to screw this war up because it always does. Our government cannot function. It doesn't work. It's only about grift. It's not about anything except fucking grift. So it cannot work. So we will lose this war like we lose all our wars since World War II because the government can't fight a war. Our military wins the battles and our government loses the war every freaking time. We will lose this one too because we always do. It doesn't matter whether there's a reason for it or not. And you can give me because we're going to lose it. So all the people are going to throw all their money, time, and energy in the garbage. It's why they didn't want to fight in Ukraine, because we're not going to win that war either. We're going to lose that one too. Every war we back, we will lose. We always lose these wars. So why bother? We replaced the Taliban after 20 years with a better Taliban. We're going to replace an Iranian, was it Republican Guard? No, Revolutionary Guard. Sorry, Revolutionary Guard with a more powerful Revolutionary Guard. Same thing. It's every time. So yes. So the value of space explorations is we're actually doing something that we're proud of. We're having a victory. That's one reason. But not just that. It gives us a reason to create something. Right? What's that idea? Necessity is the root of invention or something like that. It's the mother of invention, something like that. So yeah, we have to go do something. So we got to figure out a way to do it. The reason why I wanted the moon base so much is several reasons. One, for those who don't know, the moon doesn't have an atmosphere. Well, it has a very light atmosphere. It doesn't really have an atmosphere. So that means that radiation immediately gets on you on the moon if you're on the moon. So if you're going to have a moon base, what do you have to figure out? A radiation shield. I don't know how to do it. We don't have one now. Why bother? The Earth has its own radiation shield. The moon doesn't. So we have to figure out a radiation shield. First thing. Number two, if you're on the moon, you have far less gravity. That affects all your organs. That affects your bones, your healing. We have to figure out how to heal without gravity. We got to figure out how to fix things without gravity. Or with very low gravity, I should say. Not no, with very low gravity. We don't have to worry about that now, but we can. If we figure out how to do a radiation shield there, that's radiation shields that we'll have here. Oh, I don't know, against nuclear bombs? Yes, a radiation shield. However you do that, we'll have to figure this out, or we can't have a moon base. If we can figure out how to heal on the moon with no gravity, imagine what healing techniques will happen here in America. In the world, in America, but yes, for America, on Earth. They'll be better, stronger, faster. If you can heal on the moon, oh my God, you heal awesomely here. Or maybe we'll find out you can heal better on the moon. So people could travel to the moon to heal things, whatever that bad thing you might have. Could be maybe you can heal with no gravity. Who knows? So you will find ways of fixing things, ways of doing things, because you have to. It creates a reason to invent things, a reason to do things. That's why. Not just that, you got to communicate with the moon. Right? And it's going to be, at least there's going to be a delay because it's so far away. Right? So whatever, got to find different ways of communicating now, whatever that is. I don't know what that is, but we have to have fast communication now, don't we? Maybe we have to have more satellites on the moon. Not just that. If you can find resources on the moon, which I'm assuming there's lots of resources on the moon, you have more resources to bring to America. But not just that, you can build things on the moon. Whatever that thing you want to build, you can build on the moon. Why would that matter? No gravity. If you want to make space exploration and you could build it from resources on the moon, well, it's a lot cheaper to shoot off the moon than it is on the Earth. So I like the moon-based concept tremendously. I like space exploration tremendously. It makes America feel good. It gives us a reason to do stuff. It also gives us a lot of pride in achieving things. We can't win wars. Let's go find Mars or whatever. Kajan says, I hope Mel T isn't the foundation for a 1A attack. I guess I'm supposed to know what that means. I don't know what that means. I must have missed something. I'm sorry, guys. I'm spending my time on the phone calling people. Sorry. So All righty. Let me go down here if I can. Okay. Adam says, even at this point in this conflict, I still don't know why we're attacking Iran because his admin hasn't explained Jack S. True. Yes. If you're not paying attention, you have no idea. Zero. You have no idea why. You don't know why. I completely agree. Yes. He explained the reasoning behind the fight just as bad as yeah, correct. Mike says he did not agree to the 10-point plan. He did a ceasefire for him. It's not final. So no. He said it. He said it, Mike. His words were the 10-point plan was he said it was a good framework. He said that. Now, you and I both know he's not going to agree to the 10 points. Of course not. That's surrender. I agree with you. He's not going to agree to it. But he said it, which gave ammunition to every Democrat to say, Trump surrendered, Trump gave up. He gave them ammunition for no reason. Again, his communication's garbage. You and I both know he's not going to agree to that 10-point plan. Of course not. But it isn't the point. Why did he say it? Another flub. Another flub. And he's responsible for that. You don't get a do-over. It's not how it works. Phil says Thomas Massey is my president. I love that. Yes. Lunatic says, shine boots for the glimmer to bring the enemy close. Oh, well, okay. Hang them out there? All right. Okay, I'm in. That's good. Yes. Kai one says, Trump can meant to being with E because everybody that was with E is like a victim, and then there's some people that weren't. Okay. There is no doubt, again, as always, that Trump was with all the cool kids in Epstein. I know that doesn't make him a guy who did stuff with little ones. It doesn't mean that's true. But yeah, of course he was. Yes, absolutely. So Moses says, stop trying and work harder. So D says, is Larry still doing the Sharpe radio? No, there'll be no more Monday radio show until the campaign is over. So the radio show on Mondays at 1 p.m. is no longer a thing. I appreciate you guys watching. It is no longer a thing. Yes. No says, Larry, you were too nice to Trump. RFK made the coalition, not Trump. No, RFK agreed to it. But the reality of it is he agreed to it. But no, Trump actually opened the door. Or should I say Trump team did. I don't know if it was Trump. I don't know if it was Trump. Maybe it was Trump. But regardless, whether it was the team or not, Trump gets credit for it. His team, either way. So Trump gets credit for it either way. I don't know if it was him doing it. But it was his team. So yes. But Trump also brought in Tulsi Gabbard and also Elon Musk. It wasn't just RFK. But he did. The RFK did not initiate that. I'm going to be very clear. I know I was part of the pack who supported him. I was in that world. I'm telling you, RFK did not initiate that. That was not him initiating. He did not initiate. Now, don't get me wrong. RFK agreed. So I give RFK Jr. credit for that. Yes, agreeing, but he did not initiate. That's not a thing. Nosy goes on to say, Trump just gets credit for such a genius coalition. He was the center, right? And this is the issue. Let's say you're right, Nosy. Let's say he had nothing to do with it. For the sake of argument, I don't know if that's true, but for the sake of argument, he had nothing to do with it. Doesn't matter. His personality was what kept it together. The fact that he's Trump is what got people to do it. And it was his team. If his team screwed up, you blame him for it, as you should. And if he did well, he should get credit for it. So maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But it doesn't matter either way. So yes. No, he says 65% favorable is great. I know it's insane. Democrats love Mamdani. They do. They love Mamdani. D says, Republicans talking heads think Mamdani's walked on a sidewalk with staged to support us. So of course it wasn't. That's Republican propaganda. That was absolutely not staged. Republicans don't want to accept that Mamdani's popular in New York. He is. Guys, just if you're a Republican, just stop. Just stop. He's popular in New York. That may not last, but it is absolutely true. People still like him. Trump likes him. Sliwa likes him. Johnny Katsimatidis was sitting with him talking about it. Remember Johnny Katz is talking about how he's going to shut his stores down and all that garbage. No, he's not. He's hanging out with Donnie too. This is all garbage. This is all garbage. This is propaganda. People still like Mamdani. They still do. And it's just true. Obviously, I am not a Mamdani fan. Clearly, I'm not. Doesn't mean I have to get rid of, not accept reality. I know what state I live in. I know what city I live in. And Democrats run this city 6-1. And they like Mamdani, 65%. This concept of, well, we can just say Mamdani bad. Blake being, well, I got Mamdani. You got nothing. You got nothing. You got nothing. Mamdani's still popular. And it's this year. Now, maybe in 2028, he won't be popular. Maybe you can beat him up in 2028. You can't beat him in 2026. These last numbers were after 100 days. The numbers I told you about was after. No free buses, no rent freeze, going to raise taxes on estate tax, threatened, hasn't yet threatened to raise property tax. And what, 18, 19 dead in the winter. After all of that, 65% approval rate for Democrats. After all of that, 48% approval rating. Two separate polls, one is like 43, one is like 48. So averaging 45% approval rating. Again, Kathy Hochul won in 2022 with a 36% approval rating. This is fantasy to think that people don't like him. They like him. That's just how it works. So I would love if they loved me instead. They don't. They like him. That's how it works. So yes. Okay. Let's see here. Missy says socialist never failed to surprise me. Thank you. You get it. Thank you. 99 says, have you just surrendered completely? Yes, GOP establishment doesn't want to win. Running is just to pretend to have a candidate so they can keep countering such local positions. Accurate statement. Accurate statement. Yes. All righty. Shelley says, my friend just got her poet laureate rescinded because someone shared something negative or threatening towards Trump to her Facebook wall in 2020. Wow, that's horrible. Wow, that's terrible. Wow. All righty. Let's see if I can get here. I'm trying to make some more of these. So 99 says, that makes sense, honestly. A man is more trainable than a horse. That's actually funny. John says, the only army to win in Russia was the Polish army in a war between World War I and World War II. That's not true. The Germans won in World War I. That's not true, John. It's the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk. The Germans beat the Russians in World War I. So the only people who ever beat the Russians were the Germans. And the Poles won, but the Poles won in a defensive war. For those who don't know, the Poles beat the Russians. He's right. 1921, is that right? 2021, I think. Is that right? The Poles beat the Russians in a defensive war. The Germans beat the Russians in an offensive war. 1915 was the first offensive. 1914, they fought in the Western Front. 1915, they fought in the Eastern Front. 1950 through 1917. So 2 years, 15, 16, 17, the Germans beat them. And actually, I think they signed the treaty in 1917. Not mistaken. So no, the Germans beat the Russians in 1917. And the Poles beat the Russians in a defensive war, I think 21. So that's it. All right. So Nosy says, man is more trainable than a horse, but not as smart as a horse. Thank you. Yeah. I get you guys love this. So Robert says, Larry talks about Democrats and Republicans. I mean, understandable, but I wish he would give his political analysis on what third parties have been doing. Nothing. I'm trying, Robert. I'm trying. The system is people have surrendered. I wish they haven't. I wish they hadn't. I'm trying to get people motivated to stop. But they keep setting up more and more rules against us. I'm still going, brother. I am. But overall, the parties are broken. The parties are broken. Independent parties are broken. But I do talk about independence. I do. I talk about what's happening right now in Nebraska. I love Dan Osborne. And Dan Osborne is much further left than I am. Much further left. But I love him. Why? Because that guy will not stop. That guy will not stop. So much respect for Dan Osborne. I hope he wins Nebraska. And he's far more left than I am. And I do not care. He's the guy. He's a kindred spirit of mine. Keep fighting, keep fighting, keep fighting, and making impact, raising money, pushing the envelope, statewide elections. So I talk about him all the time. Me and him. Yes. John says, following on cavalry horses, Poland in the Middle Ages, it was illegal to sell a horse attached to the winged hussars bloodline. I remember that. The winged hussars were a very impressive cavalry unit. And there's a thing they show. It's a story they tell of World War II, which is just to embarrass the Poles. There's a picture. If you look at it, you can see it's Polish cavalry charging into the German lines, and there are tanks in the lines. So people say the Poles were so dumb that they were charging tanks with horses. It's not true. The Poles in that specific situation were actually surrounded, and they used their cavalry in an attempt to break out of being surrounded. It wasn't a tank unit. That wasn't what it was. There were armored vehicles along with the Germans moving into Poland. Most who don't know is some of the best German tanks were not used in Poland. Most of those great German tanks were actually picked up in Czechoslovakia. When they invaded the Czechoslovakia and broke up the Sudetenland, the Czech tanks were actually some better tanks than the German tanks were. The Germans had Mark IIs and Mark Is, which were horrible tanks. In fact, the Mark II, if I remember right, didn't even have a physical gun. It only had machine guns. They had 250 caliber machine guns. It was basically an armored machine gun. The Mark IIIs were 57 and 37 millimeter guns with the Mark IIIs. The Czech tanks that came in were actually 38 millimeter and 50 millimeter guns, who actually were actually better. The Czechs also had armored cars, which are actually better than the German cars. So the Germans took the Czech models and then began to build the Mark IV out, which was one of the most popular tanks chassis for World War II, the Panzerkampfwagen IV, or FIA, as they would say in German. But the 2s and 3s were the tanks used in Poland, and most of them actually, the 2s and 3s, also used in France. Also, the French has got better tanks than the Germans did. The problem with by the time the Germans went into France, the Germans were using the tanks better. They had better tank commanders and better tank tactics. The French were using tanks basically as infantry support. The Germans were using tanks as actual armored units. So they were maneuvering around the tanks. It was a big deal. Plus, the Germans actually had better guns and gunners, and they actually had better doctrine in general. They had Heinz Guderian, Erwin Rommel, who had written books. Guderian wrote the book Achtung Panzer, and Rommel wrote the book Attacks, and von Clausewitz wrote the book On War. These are three of the greatest books on combat, modern combat, ever written, and they were all by German/Prussian generals. So the French had nothing even close to that, nothing close. So yes, but I agree. The Polish cavalry has had a very proud lineage and history. Absolutely true. And so the Poles still had cavalry units during the beginning of World War II. The Germans don't think had any cavalry units at that point. The Germans used tons of horses to tow things. Like they would use horses still to tow artillery, horses to tow supply and troops and such. But then I don't think they had any cavalry units left. I don't think the Germans did. The Poles did have cavalry units, though. They did, which were outgunned completely. So Master Manawa says, when the war you start to distract you from the crimes starts going badly, distract back with the original crimes. Don Zoo. Nicely done, Mastermind. Nicely done. Yes, nicely done. Okay. Nose says, let's give Israelis free rent, food, education. Why not? We give them free healthcare, weapons, and boots. True. Yes. True. Robert says, how does Larry think third parties independent should move in order to exact some concession from these two parties? They cannot. The only way they can is by leverage. Remember, leverage is all that matters. RFK Jr. is an example of that, in that RFK Jr. was polling anywhere between low end 6%, high end about 19%, give or take, in that area, right? So say average was that about 12%, give or take, in that area. 12 was average was in that area. So that means at the end of the day, you get about half of what you poll as independent. He would have polled about 5 or 6%. That's the odds that if he had just stayed in and ran, he probably would have got 5 or 6% of the electorate on election day. 5% is a lot. That's leverage. That's enough for Trump to win the popular vote or not. It would have been enough to win all 7 swing states or not. That would have been a change without question. That's leverage. You have to have leverage. That's the answer. What I'm trying to achieve in New York State. Right now, I poll at about 8% across the state, which means I'll get 4% right now. I have to be able to poll at 16, 17, 20, 25% so that I can have enough leverage to make other people go, okay, what do you want, Larry? We'll agree. That's the issue. You have to be, leverage is measured in 3 different ways, Robert. Money, eyeballs, votes. That's it. Nothing else matters in politics. Everything else is garbage. And you might go, well, the law doesn't matter either. They'll change and shift the law. They'll change rules. They'll shift all day long. They'll do whatever it takes. Doesn't matter. They don't care. They will shift and adjust all day long with laws and rules. The question is money, eyeballs, votes. If you have those, you can move forward. And generally speaking, it cannot be locally. It must be statewide. Statewide, this is why I like Dan Osborne. Dan Osborne's running statewide. Statewide matters. Yes. All righty. I'm falling way behind. I'm sorry, guys. All righty. Let's see. Nosy says, I don't know what's different in your studio, but your lighting is amazing tonight. Your color is wonderful. Well, I've changed a little bit, guys. I'm physically moving my office. So there's not much left in the office now. You might hear a bit echoey even. The sound may be a little bit different. So yes, by the next time you see me on Monday night, I will have a different background completely. So yes, totally different again. We are moving. This is my interim office space. So there we go. There we go. So, all righty. Let's see here. Nicholas says, I do wish that Trump would speak soft but carry a big stick. Most people would, Nicholas. They can't stand his mean tweets. They hate it. I agree. Yes, they can't stand it. So yes. All righty. John says, Larry grew up in New York. President Trump talks like every person I know that grew up in New York City. True. I tell you this. Trump at his core, he's just a New York State real estate developer. That's who he is at his core. He's a deal maker at his core, which is why I say, if anybody can make a deal, it's him. That's who he is at his core. He is a New York State real estate developer. He is a deal maker. That's what he is at his core. It makes some Republicans angry because he'll make a deal that will piss off Republicans. That's who he is at his core. So that's why I haven't counted him out yet. I know many of you have. I get it. I have not. I'm not counting him out yet. Doc says, Trump killed the petrodollar. There's no coming back from this. It's possible. Again, those 10 points, how many of them get agreed to? I don't know. Not all of them, obviously. If Trump agreed to all 10 of it, it's a surrender. I can't imagine him doing that. I mean, I don't think even he could spin that if he went. So that's why I'm agreeing with Mike. He's not going to agree to all 10 of them. I can't. It's be crazy. He might just surrender. Just hoist the white flag. I can't see that happening at all. So maybe, I don't know. If it winds up to where what Iran wants in the Straits of Hormuz, if that's true, that they actually get what they want, meaning all the fines and fees they want, right? The tolls they want, and they get them in cryptocurrency or yuan, which is what they're saying they want it in. If that's true, you might be right. Because once that happens, the Houthis might do the same thing in the other strait. What's that other strait? For the name of the strait. But they might do it over there too. And they'll do exactly the same thing. Oh, yeah. Petrodollar. If that's true, that's a problem. That's why it's hard for me to accept that Trump would accept that. So, yes. Max Manal says, serious question. If Trump was a Democrat, bent on destroying the GOP, what would he do differently? One thing will be left over. One thing left over. Turn on the neocons. Yeah. Blame all of this on neocons. That'd be the last thing. Yeah. If this were true, I'm not saying he is, but if it was true, the last thing he would do is blame everything on neocons. Say they duped him, they lied to him, it's all Rubio's fault and Thune's fault. If that would be the best way of doing it, if he was actually trying to destroy them, that would wreck it. That would wreck it. Yes. So Mike says, we were back fighting in 2 weeks. Pakistan is a mouthpiece of China. Iran is hoping leftist media anger and midterm pressure on Republicans will force U.S. to capitulate and leave Ayatollah alone. We're back. We're kind of already fighting. I mean, Israel and Iran haven't stopped. So we're kind of still fighting. You mean America will be back to fighting again? You mean we're going to be bombing them again? Oh, okay, I guess. Pakistan is the mouthpiece of China. So you're saying China wants a peace now? Iran is hoping leftist media anger. This isn't leftist media, dude. The right's mad too. Have you not seen Tucker and Candace and half the right-leaning people? There's a civil war in the Republican Party. It's not just leftist media, dude. It's right also. There's hardcore Trump supporters who still support him. That's true. But a lot of right-leaning people are pissed off also. So I don't, this is not just leftist. Leftists always hate Trump. They're always putting pressure. That hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is a bunch of right-leaning people are now doing it. The left has always been doing this for 10 years now? More? When did Trump come aboard? 2017? No, 2015, right? Is when he first kind of came. 11 years now. So the left's been doing this for 11 years. There's no difference. Same old thing. Whatever left-leaning part is there, been hating Trump, still hates Trump. Now we got independents and righties doing it. That's the difference. This leftist thing, it's always been the same. That's never changed. So I'm not sure Pakistan's a mouthpiece of China. I'm not sure that's true. I think that Pakistan and China are allied because the enemy of my enemy is my friend, meaning India. So I think that's true. But Pakistan also is talking about trying to grow because Pakistan wants to be able to put a nuclear umbrella over Iran, which gives Pakistan power. It means that's a sphere of influence for Pakistan, right? They would love to have a sphere of influence over the Straits of Hormuz, over that area. Is it, Balachan? I'm pronouncing it wrong. That area of Iran, they would love that. Of course they would. So I'm not sure that that's an issue. Of course, the pressure already, there's already pressure for Republicans to capitulate. Already, there's already pressure on that. The reality of it is Trump has to come up with an amazing peace plan that both the Americans and Iranians can say they've won, which is very hard to do, obviously, and also to where the Iranians don't somehow get nuclear weapons. The only way they do that is if Pakistan gives them a nuclear umbrella. Otherwise, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. Yes. Mike goes, if ITIL is allowed to remain and toll and straight, terrorism will expand expensive within 3 years globally. No, I disagree completely. Yeah, I think you're wrong on this. That's propaganda. No. If that happens, it will not at all. What will happen is they will go financially. They will shift into copying the Gulf states because that model works. They will shift into sovereign fund. Absolutely not true. No, Mike, I guarantee you, I will bet you any amount of money that will not happen. Terrorism is desperation. It always has been and still is. I know people will tell you they're crazy. They're not crazy. That's not a thing. That's not real. That's Republican propaganda. They will go into sovereign fund financial gurus if they get this cash. If they get what they want, now I'm not saying they will, but if they do, the amount of money they're going to bring in is like $50 billion or whatever. I forgot what it is. It's an insane amount of money. It's hardly any compared. It's like nothing compared to Suez Canal. It's nothing but a Panama Canal. I mean, it's like 10 times what the Panama Canal and the Suez Canal get. It's insane to think of what they want. They get that. They're going to take that money. They're going to start a sovereign fund like all the rest of them. They're going to be investing across the entire world. They're going to be financing us. They're going to be buying our bonds. No. The reverse will happen. Terrorism will go down. It'll go down. If any terrorism, it'll be a bit of Israelis, if anything, because they don't want this to happen. Absolutely not true. They're going to take the cash because that's what they want. They all want that. So does China wants that. So does Russia. Absolutely not true. Never going to happen. They're going to go with cash. Guaranteed they will go with cash. Guaranteed. Lunatic says Israel won't exist in 2 to 4 years. If this doesn't go well, Israel will exist, not as the current Israel. It will be a different Israel. I think that could be true. But I don't see Israel going away. I see it being very different if this loses. If Iran gets, which is why I can't see Iran getting what they want. I think Mike doesn't want Iran to get what he wants. I think he may be right. This will not go well for Israel if Iran gets what it wants, which is why I can't see Trump agreeing to it. But he has to agree to something. That's the problem. He has to agree to something. And here's the problem. There's no way you get around it. They have to get something or they won't end the war. So the problem is people think that America decides when this war ends. It doesn't. Iran does. And that sounds terrible, but it does. Iran decides when this war ends. All America can do is keep bombing. And that's not going to stop them. All America can do is keep bombing. They'll keep bombing. And Iran will say, great, no oil goes through the Strait of Hormuz. All they have to do is not lose. They're in a better position. So yes. Let's see. John says, double checked on the penalty for selling pole-swinged horses. These horses were highly valuable with restrictions, punishable by death. Damn. Here we go. Adam says, Larry, when a city or town is left in rubble, what's the strategic advantage of holding down rubble? Lots of it. Ask the Germans in Casino in Italy. Lots of value. You stop. Ask the Russians in Stalingrad. Stalingrad was rubble at the end, and they held it, and then stopped the Germans. And the Germans held Casino and the mountain and passed there. Rubble. Yeah. Rubble is a large event. You hold your enemy off. That's why. You hold your enemy off. Your enemy still, no matter what, you can bomb people all day long. If you don't conquer the land, you lose, right? If you're attacking, you lose. You have to conquer the land, right? So they hold rubble, so you can't take it. The rubble becomes, you see it in Ukraine. They're fighting over towns that aren't towns. They're fighting over towns in Ukraine that are like, I'm not making this up, 25 rubbled buildings. They're fighting over basements. I'm serious. So yeah, because you hold people away. That's what the value is. You push them away. Yes. Holding the rubble here keeps this area safe. So yes. Phil says, good question, Adam. I think usually cities are built on street points like on a river or crossroads. Often true, but not always. And bridges get blown up too. So yes. Yeah. All righty. Let me see, going down here. Let's see here. Massman, I would ask, Mike, do you truly think Israel is an instigator in the Middle East? I think Mike would say yes, that he does believe that. Yes. Yeah. Keishan says civil startles me every time, but it's always civil. Yes. Yes. Mike says, is it just me or is YouTube being very sensitive? Of course it is. I brought up EpiPen and Iran and Israel. Of course it is. Of course it is. There's no way they're going to let me do this. Of course. Yes. Adam says, how to beat drones, really big net. That is starting to be something that they're thinking about. Actually, nets are a thing. For those of you who haven't seen it in Ukraine, they actually net roads, right? They net over the roads so you can get through. The problem is you can't even get through. So yeah, absolutely. Doc says Zelensky is drawing fire for having Ukraine help the effort against Iran. Yes, absolutely. Yes, 100%. D says, word initiative is Larry being on Shannon Joy's podcast Monday, 4/13 at 1 p.m. That's usually my, yep. We'll see. That sounds like a good thing. That might be true. Yes. Shelly says, I haven't followed Tucker Carlson lately, but I see a lot of posts against him. Yes. Well, because he really has been anti-Trump recently. Yes, really. Absolutely. So Mike says, or was it that the stockpile of drones and missiles supplied to Russia were destroyed or repurposed in the last 30 days? I think they help Ukraine, but not really extending the war nor changing the outcome. I don't know, Mike, to be very forward. What I know is a lot of Russian damage, a lot of Russian casualties, heavy chunks of them were from drones. Ukrainian drones. Ukraine now is actually building drones, right? Early in the war, they were building almost none. Now they have their own manufacturing of drones. Now Ukraine has it. So does Russia, obviously, too. Right? Obviously, Russia also has it. So yeah, so Ukraine's been actually manufacturing drones and actually creating all drone units with no infantry, just drones and drone operators. Obviously, they're creating that now. So I think a lot of that's true. Ukraine's been bombing a lot of stuff in Russia also. Yes, also true. So yeah, but the problem is they made a massive. The Russians made a massive offensive, and they probably shouldn't have. I should say probably. It's obvious now they should not have. It was a mistake. The Russians should have stayed with their, which sucks. It's a terrible way of doing it, but they should have stayed with their constant, slow grind, which is still beating Ukraine, but was consistently beating Ukraine, just slowly pushing them back, slowly, until Ukraine would eventually just go, we're done. We just can't handle this. And as you know, Mike, being a military guy yourself, with constant losses, at one point your soldiers don't want to fight anymore. And what Russia's offensive did is it gave Ukraine a victory. And they hadn't had that in a long time. I mean, they hadn't had a real one since Kursk. Really? I mean, a real victory since back then. So, yeah. Adam says, more Shannon Joy means more Larry in Rochester. We're going to hoard Larry in upstate New York. Downstate can't have him. I like that. I appreciate that. Yes. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Shelley says Larry called it. He said people get along great with him until they have an opinion of their own. JD Vance, for example. That's good. Yes. Patty says there were allegations by former Prince Andrew in his biography claiming EpiPen and Melania were lovers. Oh my God, I didn't know that. Oh, that's why. Okay, that actually makes sense at least. Okay, Patty, that actually makes sense. Yes. Texas Pence Rubio 2028. Boo. Boo. Oh my God. Yes, that's terrible. Oh my God. That's good. I notice he goes, just because it can't be proved in court of law doesn't mean it didn't happen. Yes, but I think just because one person says so also doesn't mean it happen either. I agree with both of you. Yes. Yes. So, all righty. John says, I don't want to come off as being mean, but I would check her social media posts and her bank account. Liberals have no problem paying for people to lie in court. Also true. People do it. People do it. Yep. Absolutely. Shelley says they already found him guilty for 34 felony counts in a misdemeanor charge that was outside of the statute of limitations. And it was a one transaction that was 34 times the ledger. Yes, absolutely correct. But that wasn't, yes, that's true. But nobody cared. So yes. Brona says, you are correct, Larry. Other than Orange Man Bad, last time I saw Dems United was, hey, LBJ, how many kids you killed today? You're right. Yes, Orange Man Bad still works. I wish it didn't, but it still works. It absolutely does. Yes. So, all righty. Masmanal says, never forget that it was NASA that invented the computer-generated image. Bonus, Artemis 2 launched on April Fool's Day. Oh, is that true? There we go. I like that. All righty. Let's see here. So many of these. John says, you'd be surprised how many inventions came from farmers looking for a way to make their job easier. 100%. That's why I think it's amazing. I love that. I completely agree with that. Yes. All right. Talk says Newsom Gabbard 2028. You heard it here first. That's funny. I like that. Okay. John's 1920. Okay. I wasn't sure it was 20 or 21. Thank you. 1920. There we go. Okay. Ryan says Germans beat the heck out of Russia during World War I. Yep. Germany was a huge reason that Russia got Lenin in power in 1970. Yes. The Russians actually, Germans actually sent Lenin to Russia. That's true. Yes. Absolutely. Chris says, tuning in late, but finding it funny that a day after he talked about Blakeman not fighting the matching funds loss, he's planning to do it. Desperate much? He is, but he's not going to win, but I get it. John says, started in 1920, stopped at the gates of Warsaw, pushed them back, ended in 21. Okay, so I was right. It was 2021. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. All righty. Adam says, good morning, old friend. Why is what's happening in the Republican Party remind me of the political struggles in Stargate 1? Okay. Then he says, enjoy the tank history. I personally designed philosophy behind the Panzerkampfwagen 3 production, track designs especially, hull and gun be damned, but those are the best tracks of the war. I agree with you. The problem is the chassis couldn't really take larger guns. That's the problem, right? So the biggest gun you can get on the 3 was the 50 millimeter, which wasn't a bad gun for light tanks. But once you started getting heavier tanks, you had to get bigger guns. So the Panzerkampfwagen 4 was able to put a 75 millimeter gun on it and also an 88 millimeter gun on it. But they went to 75 millimeters. The Panther was 75 millimeters. The Mark IVs were 75 millimeters. And the Tiger was an 88, which was based off the flak gun, the 88 flak gun, which was a devastating gun that worked as a anti-aircraft gun and an anti-tank gun. That's how good that flak 88 was. It could actually, the Germans had a gun that could actually fire and knock down planes and blow up tanks. Insane. But yes, but the 75 millimeter gun was the key. The 75 millimeter gun went into the Stug, the STG-3, which was the greatest tank killer the Germans ever made. And it was basically a gun on tracks. It had no turret, right? And the people who were trained in it, even though it was kind of a tank, it was an SPG. It was a self-propelled gun. They actually were artillerymen. They weren't tankers. So they had artillerymen in the Stugs, STG-3s, I forgot what it stood for. I forgot the German word. But anyway, those are also the best. That was also, I think that might have been on a Panzerkampfwagen 4 chassis. So yeah, I agree. The tracks were good on the 3. The tracks were different. They were massively different tracks on the Tiger and the Panther. Those are totally different tracks. So yeah, the problem you have with the Germans in World War II compared to the Russians was, and which we're seeing right now. This is a total combo of right now, what's happening right now in the current war, is quantity versus quality. The German Mark Fives and Sixes, the Tigers and the Panthers, they were the best tanks in the world. They were amazing tanks. The Panther was probably the best tank in the world till the 50s. They were the best tanks in the world. But you'd make maybe 6,000 total Panthers in the entire war. The Russians made 6,000 T-34s in 1 month. So yeah, you couldn't outgun them. So even if a Panther could take out 4 T-34s, they're making 6 of them for every 1 Panther. So who cares? You still at one point very, very often in a Russian front, what would happen is the Germans would run out of ammunition. I'm not joking. They would keep firing and blowing up Russian tanks, and then there'd be no shells left. So the Russian tanks would outrun them because they got no shells left. So they're literally overrunning anti-tank guns because there's no more bullets left. There were more tanks than there were German shells. So yeah, so the point's it's a valid point. The 3 was a good tank, but the problem is once you put up a 3 against a T-34, the 3 is gone. The 50 millimeter gun can't get through T-34, can't get through any of the SUs, can't get through an SU-100, SU-122. If you ever watch the recent movie, the Germans have a recent movie on the Tiger tank called Der Tiger, and they translate it in English to the tank. Boo, translator. Der Tiger obviously means the tiger. It's a Tiger tank. So it's I won't give you the thing, but it's about a Tiger tank on the Russian front. That's what it's about. I won't give you the background. It's a decent movie. It's not great, but decent movie. It's in German. Well, I watched it in German with my daughters, which is fun. But that point is they fight SU as SU-100s, SU-122s, and those are massive tank destroyers. And so a 3 gets crushed by that. It'll bounce. A 50 millimeter gun bounces off of one of those. Literally bounces off. So you've got to have the right anti-tank armor piercing rounds that a 75 millimeter gun could produce, and that an 88 gun could produce. So that back in the day, tank warfare is outdated now. Tanks, I know I'm gonna make Mike angry when I say this. Tanks are also obsolete now. They're obsolete. Tanks are obsolete. Carriers are obsolete. Battleships are obsolete. World War II is obsolete. World War I is today's war. Today's war is World War I, not World War. Yeah, the machine gun is like what matters. It's crazy. So yeah. All righty. Bronner says, I haven't mentioned this in a while, but if you haven't, check out the Corbett report. I highly recommend starting. Corbett report. Thank you. I highly recommend starting with his World War I documentary. Yeah, true. Ryan says, German General Ludendorff was brilliant. You're goofy. True. Ludendorff was the number 2 in command. Hindenburg was the number 1 in command. Hindenburg eventually became the president of Germany, the president of Germany. And he actually is the chancellor of Germany. And he actually is the one who appointed Hitler as his replacement. Hindenburg did that. Ludendorff actually also supported Hitler. In fact, Ludendorff and Hitler were together during one of his attacks in southern Germany where Ludendorff was injured because they opened fire, street fighting. Ludendorff was with Hitler in some of the street fighting when Hitler was trying to take over in the late 20s, maybe, give or take. So yes, Ludendorff actually openly supported Hitler. Hindenburg did not like Hitler at all, but eventually realized he was the only way to save Germany in Hindenburg's eyes, and actually appointed Hitler as chancellor. People don't know that. Hitler did not take over in a violent overthrow. He was appointed by Hindenburg. And when Hindenburg and Ludendorff would sign paperwork for orders, they would sign it HL. That's a true story. If you look at it, HL, a little symbol, HL, which was for Hindenburg and Ludendorff. This is true. Interesting concept for you guys. So thank you for that. All righty. Nani goes on to elaborate further on the Panther 3 tracks. The drive wheel was in the front, letting mud fall off, but the tracks reached it. It has simple torsion suspension and spaced wheels for easy repair. I did not know that. I knew it was good because they copied. They put a lot of other guns on the 3 chassis. So that's why I knew it was good. I didn't know that was why it was. Appreciate that. I appreciate that. So Brona says, I hope to see Rose/Massey collaboration like the Ron Paul, Dennis Kucinich days. That'd be nice. Not much was legislatively won, but it woke a lot of folks up. True, it made people recognize that both sides were bad, right? Yes. So Mike says, Iran sends 50% of oil to China. Yes, which is why I'm saying if Iran gets what it wants, it will make that Belt and Road Initiative. They will find a way to ship oil to China effectively and efficiently via land. Right now, that does not exist, but that will. They will find a way. Guaranteed, Mike. They will, whether that's rail, whether that's buses, I don't know what the hell it is, they will find a way. That Belt and Road Initiative will go to Russia and to China from Iran directly. Guaranteed they will do that. I don't know how it is. They'll find an answer. They will find a way. As you know, at the moment, that does not exist, but it will. It will absolutely work. That's true. So, Pakistan presses India. Yeah, correct. They've had many border skirmishes. That's true. All right. Doc says Iran and Oman collecting Hormuz tolls only adds $1 to $2 a barrel. Okay, but you know how many barrels that is? Dude, you know how many barrels that is? Hold on. All right. Now you got me. Okay, Doc. That's a lot. Hold on. I'm going to check this right now. See if I can get an answer for this. Let's see here. Jesus Christ. According to AI, at its height, about 20 million barrels go through per day. Per day. So $2 per barrel. That's 40 million per day. I'm going to do quick math on that one using my phone. So if I got 40 million per day, which is what at least the AI says, so I hope that's correct, 40 million per day. We're talking like $15 billion. Come on now. Anyway, even if it's just that. But from what they're saying, they're going to do $2 million for every ship. $2 million per ship. So hold on. See if I can swap this and go how many ships go through. Again, according to AI. And let's see if we can go per ship. Again, according to AI, 100 per day. Okay, 100 per day. That's what, 20 at 2 million? That's two. Oh my God. 100 per day at 2 million per? That's $200 million. That's $200 million a day. Jesus Christ. If that's $200 million per day, if they get what they want, I'm not saying they will. So now I'm talking $200 million per day times 365, $73 billion. $73 billion a year. For Iran. Dude, it's a lot of money. A lot of money. Brana says, Iran's new Vietnam, they're not going to give up. I agree. Why would they? Why would they give up? John says, I'm not sure about terrorism going down because Iran's a theocracy, so we'll do whatever Ayatollah tells them. And the Ayatollah is a person who wants cash too. And the people around him want cash also. So yeah, in theory, so is Saudi Arabia. He's a king who controls Mecca and Medina. Stop. He's about cash. He's about cash. Yeah. In theory, St. Petersburg is the capital of Eastern Orthodoxy. In theory, Constantinople is also, and so is Rome. And they're about cash. So I get it, but no. That's the story to tell you. So yeah, that's the story to tell you. So, all righty. Nice mastermind. Donnie held Trump casino till it was rubble. Yep. Absolutely. All righty. Sarah says, just stopping back to say I found the new podcast, The Bug About Larry. Julian Dory. He's a New Yorker and has a huge influence, 1 million plus. Go to his website and send a request if you like it. Tim Dillon too. Yes, do all those things. Please. Yes, absolutely. I love that idea. She is correct. Please copy, do what she says. She is right. Yes. All righty. Master Manawa says Trump's going to Iran to look for weapons of mass destruction. That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. Yes. Okay. Let's see here. Mike says drones have not changed war for that much. Tanks don't matter. Just situational, generic in use. If that's true, how come Marines don't have tanks anymore? Mike, stop. The Marine Corps has no tanks anymore. They got rid of all the tanks. Tell me tanks are obsolete? Marines don't have them anymore. There's no tanks in the Marine Corps anymore. They're gone. Yeah, they're not making tank units anymore. Ukrainians aren't making tank units anymore. The UK doesn't make tank units anymore. America doesn't build new tanks anymore. What are you talking about? The plans for our new tank, remember that Mark 20, whatever the hell thing was, scrapped. They're not making it anymore. Dude, they're not making new ones. How can you tell me it has tanks still matter? They're not making new ones. Not just that, drones haven't changed war for that much. Dude, what planet are you on? Don't get me wrong, still artillery still works, and still the most damage is still done through artillery. That's true. The entire war here against Iran is missiles and drones. What are you talking about? Drone swarms a new thing. Ukraine is making entire units of drone warriors. Used to be drones were attached to infantry units, were attached to headquarters units. Now they are the units. I don't know what you're talking about. They have trained them completely. The tactics used, I don't know if you know this, the Ukrainians, this is a true story. Ukrainians fought in war games against the NATO troops this year and last year and 2 years ago. In each case, Ukrainian drone units destroyed NATO. NATO doesn't train Ukrainians anymore. Ukrainians train NATO. And you're telling me drones haven't changed war? Dude, you're smoking crack. You're the guy who goes, machine guns don't matter in World War I. Let's charge them with horses. No. Total, absolute change. It has changed everything. There is no need for fighter planes. If drones don't matter, why can't the carriers go into the Strait of Hormuz? Because drones will destroy them. If drones don't matter, how come the Russians can't control the Black Sea? They can't, because naval drones will blow up all their ships. That's the reason why. Naval drones destroy the Russian Navy. There's no Black Sea fleet. Doesn't exist. I mean, it does, but it sits in dock. It can't come out. The fleet can't come out because naval drones will sink it. Dude, I don't know what you're talking about. Drones have completely changed. And you add AI? When America did its attack into Iran to get the pilots out, Predator drones were flying close air support. Predator drones were flying close air support, not a fighter plane. Drones were doing it. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. It's insane. Of course they have. So, all righty. Let's see here. I covered that piece. Lunatic says, never underestimate the mind of the man who just want to be left alone. That's John Wick. That's John Wick. Absolutely. John says, $75 billion a year, would that even pay the yearly interest on the U.S. debt? Probably not, but Iran is such a smaller country financially. I mean, it'd be amazing. Be amazing. Absolutely. Yes. All righty. Shelley says, England is a theocracy, and the king just supported Islam, although Charles never been too smart. That's good. I like that. That is pretty good. All righty. Went on that one already. That's good. All right. Adam says, I'm in the wrong line of work. I can barely cover $15 a month of rent in Rochester. Yeah. Yes. So Kate says, Jillian's rack was hysterical. I think you mean rant. Was hysterical last week. He'll probably leave it off if he talks with Larry. Maybe. We'll see. Sam says, prediction, swarm AI will be the ultimate game changer and will replace jets. 100%. 100%. AI drones is the future. AI is semi-controlling what we do now, right? Even what they've already said so. They've already said it. Some of our targets we're choosing right now in Iran is done through AI. Our military now is using AI to choose targets. That's happening now. Now you add drones to that? Of course. Absolutely. Rich says, hey, all drones are a game changer. Yes. Absolutely. 100%. Brona says, I like the idea of drones fighting drones. I hate the reality of drones kill children. True. I'm with you. Adam says, I want the battleship back just for the cool factor. They are cool. I agree. I actually saw one. I saw like the Missouri. Was it the Missouri? I think I saw the Missouri. One of its last times out when it was in the Pacific. I was on a troop ship at the time back in the 80s. So I actually saw one. Yes. There we go. All righty. I think we're good there. Good. Okay. Nosy goes, no, Shelly, I'm sick of all this BS about divorce politics again. Wait till after I finish my run, but I appreciate it. Guys, I've given so much. I apologize. The last thing I want you to do is I want you, if you would, do me a favor, head on over to the Advocates and read this specific piece on socialism. We say that we don't really like Mr. Mamdani. Well, the UN says they might like him because the UN is making a lot of problems. The UN's International Covenant at 50, when desires become rights. Oh boy, is that an issue. When things become rights, all of a sudden they become expensive and they become worse. That's what they do. So please feel free to jump on that if you would. Pop on, read this article. When you are done, please, once you are done with it, grade it and then share it. It does matter. If you want to sign up, please sign up. We'd love to have you sign up. The Advocates, they are a sponsor of the show. There's a link specifically in the description on YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble. Check it out. Click that link so you know it comes from you. The Advocates will allow you to think about how you can govern yourself. It's the Advocates for self-government. That's the issue. The Advocates for self-government. You guys, that I appreciate it. Guys, as I always say, I will not be on Saturday or Sunday. As I said, I am moving my office. You will see next time you see me, there'll be a different background. I will be changing my office again, taking everything up and shopping around this Saturday and Sunday. Also, I'll have a special show probably Monday afternoon. I'll be posting on my social media, and also GovShack Monday night at 7 p.m. Guys, do me a favor. After you have clicked the like button, after you have shared this, after you have subscribed, please remember, I want you to comment after the live. And I want to ask you, why do you think what's the number one reason in your view why there's a Republican civil war? Is it the Epstein files? Is it Iran? Is it something else? Is it the neocons? What is it? What's number one reason for that? If you would, please let me know. And remember, if you watch this and it's not live, 2 videos might pop up. Please pop on one of them right away. Mr. Rhythm loves that. Al Go Rhythm. I will see you all very soon.